So I want to talk about repeating numbers, number patterns, because many people that are on the awakening journey start to become aware of seeing repeating numbers. You start to see them everywhere, so much so that you can no longer write it off as being a coincidence. And repeating numbers, number sequences have been a huge part of my spiritual journey and continue to be a huge part of it. You know, I see now, it's no coincidence that, the first part of my life was spent in finance, but I didn't realise how connected I was to the numbers at that point and the true meaning of the numbers, because numbers within our financial institutions, right, they're manipulated, inverted, they're not in the true sense of what numbers are really here to communicate and to be for us. So after leaving that, like I said, I've become really aware of number sequence. And numbers often accompany many different destined points for myself. They're highly synchronistic, and they are messengers, and we don't have to understand those messages with a logical mind. In fact, if we try too hard to understand them with a logical mind, often we'll get stressed about it, we'll get stuck in a loop, and that's not what they're there to do. They're not there to give you a logical answer. They're actually energetic codes, messages, activators, and they're activating seeds within the body. They carry key codes within them that activate memories. So it's not supposed to be a communication to the logical mind, so we can let go of trying to understand it that way. And when it comes to numbers, there's a lot of videos out there that talk about different number sequences, and often these numbers are, it's one sequence. Let's say 777, 444. But actually, what I've come to discover is that we can't actually isolate these numbers, because these numbers work in tandem together and they start to layer together. So for me personally, right now, the two number sequences that have really been brought to my attention over and over again over the last couple of months is 777 and 444. Both of these numbers have been coming in strong and together, and if we start to look at those numbers and see the 777, we can see that the 777 equals 21, which equals 2 and 1, which equals 3. So we can see within the 777 we've actually got the 2 and the 1, we've got the 3, and then we can go down and we can look at the 444, and we can see that the 444 equals 12, which is again is a 2 and a 1, but a 1 and a 2, and that equals 3. So we can see now we've also got, so not only do we have the 777 and the 444, but we have the 2 and the 1, we have the 3, and we have the 1 and the 2, so we have it flipped, the 2 and the 1, and we have the 3, so we have 33, so we have another number coming in there. And then we can move down that channel and we can look at the 7 and the 4, and we can see that the 7 and the 4 make 11, 1, 1. So we can see that the 7 and the 4, the 7 and the 4, the 7 and the 4, we've got 11, 11, 11, and 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So we can see how these numbers come in, and there is so much more than the number isolated. So this is just bring awareness to say that as we start to see these numbers, they are not isolated messages. These are layered messages, layered activations. And in order for us to really find meaning within them, if we really want to find meaning within them, we have to feel, we have to become aware. These numbers are asking us to have awareness of what is happening within our reality, to stand back from the ego, from the programmed self, from the need to know everything logically, and to go into our feeling centers, to move into our heart's spaces. For me, seeing those two numbers, what those numbers have accompanied have been thoughts of, so I had a thought that came into my mind before seeing the 444, which was, your goal this year is to exit the false matrix. Now I'm going to do a video on what that means, and as I had that download into my mind, I turned around and instantly I saw on my oven 444, and I knew that was a sign, a signal showing me that that was a download. I already knew it was a download, but it was a confirmation that that was my higher self's desire for this year, and I already knew that I was on that journey anyway, but it was a really strong message and reassurance for me to know that I've got to dig in deeper to that. And also I got a vision in my mind of this, I saw materialize in front of my eyes 777, and the 777 came, and I had a feeling that, you know, I was about to go on a 7-week journey. I just created my 7th bonus week on the Reconnect program that I've created to reconnect you back to the true soul self, which came to me, and I knew that I was being shown that this was a destined point, a node point, that I was walking through my destiny, and I was about to go on this journey, and I knew it was reassuring me this journey was going to be life-changing. This journey was going to be a walk through destiny. And as I have come on this journey, and I have seen those 2 numbers everywhere, and I mean everywhere. The train that I got down, my ticket was 777. The flight that I got, it was 777. It was a Boeing 777, but the flight ticket was 777. Every different country that I've entered, I have looked up at a certain point where I've seen 777 on a sign, on a number plate, 444. So those numbers have been flooded into my existence. And as I've been walking along the beaches, creating these messages, doing what I love, sharing my light, sharing what Source has asked me to come here and do, as I've been doing that, I have felt myself walk through destiny, walk through a node point. I've had a remembrance that this point was predestined for me, that that I was being shown from Source through these numbers, that I am walking into my destiny. So I don't try and go into the mind, you don't have to go into the mind logically about it, but you can see, if you are seeing both of these numbers, 777, 444, and you're seeing it was in the 1111, the 33, we can see within these numbers many different layers. We don't need to understand it logically, but what it could mean for it. And we have to look at our own life and observe our life to actually feel for the meaning, let go of needing to understand it with the mind. But if you are seeing these numbers like I am right now, then it is likely as well you are being given the sign, the signal that you are also moving into a node point, a destined point. You are moving onto your divine blueprint, and you have made good choices. You have made good decisions that have, by following the heart, often you'll have had to use a lot of courage to do this. It may not have always looked pretty when you've made these decisions, but it is a sign that you have made some good choices, that you have aligned with the soul, and either right now you are walking through a destined point, or you are about to walk through a destined point, or you are moving onto the path to the alignment of moving through that destined point. So I just wanted to bring this video out because, like I say, I've always, numbers have been such an important part of my journey and continue to be an important part of my journey. And they always make me smile when I see them everywhere so much. And I don't try going to the mind about them all the time, but sometimes when I see them, I get a download, and I pay attention to that. That's when we should pay attention. When we are walking through our life and we see those numbers and we get a download, pay attention to that, because that is meaningful and that matters, and follow that thought. And when we're getting downloads, right, often people think when they are getting downloads of information, and we often hear spiritual teachers talk about messages that they receive about downloads, and often we think that they get, a huge story, but it's not like that. At least it's not like that in my experience. Often these downloads are a sentence. It's one sentence. Like I said to you, I had this download: goal, exit the false matrix. On that download, I saw the number, and then I follow that. I know that that is a download, and then as I then contemplate that download, reflect on it, feel that download, more starts to stream in, and that's how it works. So we pay attention to those few words that we receive. Source doesn't necessarily speak in loads of words, it's just a few words. So we pay attention to those few words. So as you're seeing these numbers, don't isolate them, don't think they're isolated, understand they're multifaceted. Pay attention to what you are experiencing, thinking at the time, and observe that. And don't allow yourself to go into huge amounts of analysis. Don't get caught up in the thoughts, in the mind. And if at first, when I was going through this journey and starting to see numbers and stuff, I did get caught. I did look at a lot of videos and see a lot of videos that said, well, 7s mean this, 4 means this, but actually it's a personal meaning to the self. And if we actually take those meanings, well, there's nothing wrong with them when we're starting to learn more about energy. They can be actually helpful. We have to understand that it's actually it's personal to us, and only we No one else, I can't tell you the meaning. I can tell you what it means for me, and I can tell you that, you know, if you're watching this video, then you resonate with me in some way, and then maybe some of my message is your message as well, but I can't tell you categorically that is truth. Only you can do that by starting to pay attention, by starting to become aware when you do see these numbers, and just feeling and just allowing information to come through. And the more that you do that, the more that you'll connect to those messages, the more that it'll start to come natural, and you will hear the messages and you will understand the message. And at first you might not, and that's okay. So don't go into analysis, let go, feel for it, pay attention when you do see them, see how you feel when you're seeing those numbers, what's happening around you, and let it go then. Let it go and allow it to come in when it's ready to come in. But if you are seeing repeating numbers, which you obviously are if you are watching this video, then it is a great sign. It is a sign that you are awakening, that you are connecting into truth, into energy, into the energetic world, which is truth, because we are consciousness, we are source expressing itself in many different perspectives, and we are all connected to each other.